is Max Starks. That's a two-time Super Bowl champion, Max Starks. That is the man who had to tolerate Barrett Brooks during his playing career.
Tolerate is the operative word.
May have taken some years off of his career, or possibly.
What are you talking about?
I've saved. He told me that in confidence. I'm sorry.
I've saved Max so many times. Max is my guy. I took Max under my wing, man.
First of all, Max, what's up, man? Thanks for hopping on with us. We appreciate it.
I'm doing well, fellas. How are y'all doing today on this fine Friday?
We are good, Max. We have a team playing in the World Series tonight and an undefeated football team. Things are not bad for us. We're doing all right, man.
Yeah, I trust me. I mean, you guys could run the trifecta, but we won't get on the Sixers just yet. They'll
please don't.
No. All right, Max, you got to give us some insight, man.
No.
This guy right here. Hold on. Now.
Right away. Max, here we go.
Max, come on, Max. I've been waiting for this all morning. I said, you know what? We need some dirt. Now I know a lot about this dude, but because he tells us one thing, and I know there's more truth out there somewhere, we need to go to a definitive source in terms of what don't we know about him.
Yeah. Well, I'll say this. Barrett B. Brooks was the first guy to really talk to me as a young man. You know what I'm saying? Like when you walk into a new locker room, everybody's looking at the rookies like, okay, sizing us up like, okay, these are the guys that are supposed to take our jobs. Really? This is the best you got? So, a lot of people don't talk to you.
Right.
But B. Brooks, I remember I sat right up in the front of the room mostly because they told me that every other seat was taken. And I went and sat in the front of the room, and B. Brooks was right there next to me, and B. Brooks took me under his wing, and showed me how to watch film as a professional versus what I thought I was doing when watching film as a college kid. A lot of respect for him and Sanji and their whole family. They just welcomed me in as one of their own, and I appreciate that. But
here we go. All these accolades, I'm like, man, get past that.
Here we go.
We'll hear that.
Listen, you got to build them up before you tear them down. I mean, you can't. If I just tear them down right out the gate, that's 6 feet under. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I want to get some high heels on before I knock them back down to normal height.
Oh.
There's this one time, and B. Brooks knows what I'm about to talk about, where, listen, my brother, I love him. To this day, I'll do anything for Barrett. But there was that one time where he became a rat bastard. And that one time...
We're not talking about the Super Bowl, man. We can't talk about the Super Bowl, okay, man?
Yes, we will. Yes, we will.
Yeah.
So we're about to win the game in Detroit against Seattle. So they're like, hey, we got to dump Kool-Aid on Coach Cowher. Max, Marvell, y'all grab the cooler. I'm like, I bet. I'm going to my best friend, my mentor, the one that I look up to, a role model. B. Brooks, can you hold my helmet while I go dump this on Coach Cowher? So we go up to dump it on Coach Cowher. Marvell lets the thing go. I'm still holding it. Now I've hit Coach Cowher in the back of the neck with the bottom of the Gatorade bottle, the jug. And I'm looking like, and I'm trying to get rid of the jug before he turns around, right? Because I'm like, who is this young dude that's just giving Coach a concussion, right? So then an interception happens, turnover. We got to go take a knee for the last play of the game. I'm excited. I'm like,
last two plays.
B, where? Yeah, exactly. It was 2 knees. That's right. It was 2 knees. B, where is it? B is halfway on the field, strapping his helmet on and talking about, I don't know. I got you, young buck. Deuces, and runs out and steals the last 2 plays of the game. And I'm looking for my helmet. He has kicked it way underneath the bench.
Oh, my God.
All the way almost to the wall. I'm like, how the hell did that get that far away? And it's because B. Brooks acted like he was going for a perfect 300 game, and rolled my shit all the way back.
Oh, my God. We never heard that before, Max. That is awesome.
No, you gotta understand the situation. Now, back then they had performance pay, you know what I'm saying? And at that time it was like $500 a play. And I didn't have enough playing time on that check, man. So, He gave me the helmet, and then all of a sudden, you know, it was an interception, and everybody's running around like, "Hey, we got to go back in. We got to go back in." So I don't know, man.
Hold up, man.
Yeah, wait,
You sold your little brother out for $500.
Yeah, that's all.
No, it was 1,000 because it was 2 plays.
Now you know what you're worth.
Exactly.
Max. You know what you're worth to him, man. Oh my God.
Hey, and if he had sold my helmet, it probably would have been worth more than that than 2 plays.
He might have. Oh my God.
But hold on now. Now, and I bailed him out too. Now listen.
He has bailed me out. Yeah.
This is rookie year. Him and the other tackle, like you got to take the offensive line out to eat. You know,
yeah, Bo Lacey. Bo
Lacey's the other tackle, you know. So both of these guys. So Max is a 3rd-round draft choice. He got money. Bo Lacey's like a 7th-rounder. He don't really have money, but we go out to eat. Now, at the time, they're ordering like Louis. Louis like it was like what $4,000 a bottle.
$4,000 a bottle.
4 bottles of Louis. They got 4 bottles of Louis. They got Duck Head. It's like that's like 700 bottles a bottle. So the tab comes up. And the tab is $26,000.
Jeez.
No, and some change, 26 some change. So, like I said, I got a great relationship with those guys because, you know, I'm virtually, you know, helping them out. And, you know, the coach literally told me, hey, you help these rookies out. Because you help these rookies, I'm going to keep you around. So, daggone right, I'm going to help them out. Yeah. Long story long, we'd only been we'd only had like 5. We only collected like 5 checks before then. You know what I'm saying? It's like the 5th or 6th week. So, it was him and Bo Lacey in the corner. And I hear a psst, and we're sitting there eating. I'm like, what is going on? So it's Max and Bo Lacey looking at me and hitting around the corner. Talking, come here. So they come to me and said, B, what are we going to do? I said, what are you talking about? Man, I ain't got that much money in my account right now. We've only been playing for 5 weeks. What am I going to do? I said, what do you mean? You got to pay for it. I ain't got enough to pay for it. What does Big Brother do? I go ahead and pay for it. Oh. So they don't know. They don't. You got to pay me back on Monday now, right? You gonna pay? Oh yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Hey, this was Friday. I was like, you got the checks got to clear, but I have no credit. I am 22 years old in the NFL. I have not established any credit. I had that $1,000 credit card that you max out your freshman year of college on a deal for a couple of T-shirts and a discount trip to Cancun. You know what I'm saying? Like, my credit was wrecked because of that one credit card. So I'm trying to get a credit card as a pro athlete. They're like, here's a credit card. Your spend limit is $5,000 because you don't have any credit history. And they're like, oh yeah, just put it on the card. Right. Okay, and
long story long, what do? I said, you know what? I'll do it. I'll pay for it. You guys just pay me back on Monday or Tuesday when you get the money. They're like, all right, cool. Thanks, B. But little did they know, I put him up on game later on. He said, well, B, man, I really appreciate you doing this. I went, oh, it's no problem, you know, because now you know you can't write it off. I can write it off because I paid for it. You're like, oh, B, how you going to do me like that? I paid for it. No, I said, no, I paid for it. So I got to write it on my taxes, and they couldn't. They were hot at me. I wrote it off on my taxes. Bam!
Yeah.
My tax write-off.
Statute of limitation says because I sent him a paper check and I wrote the memo line for rookie dinner purposes, I also wrote said check off. Now, Bo didn't write it off because Bo was about 12 sheets to the wind during dinner. That's the other thing that we had talked about. Bo said, man, it's going to be so expensive. We might as well get drunk. Let's go drink some Mad Dog. I was like, absolutely not, sir. Absolutely not. Nope, we're not doing it.
Oh my God. That is awesome. That is awesome. Wow, Max, I got to ask you, you had obviously a great career, period, but you had some unbelievable years with the Steelers. What's your sense of what's happening now? Obviously, you know, the offensive line, nowhere near what you guys are accustomed to from your days, Barrett's days, et cetera.
Yeah.
What's happening with this team then?
Well, I think the biggest thing, you know, when you look at it's growing pains, right? I mean, this is what a lot of teams in the NFL experience year in and year out, or every couple of years, right? The cycle kind of turns over, and the Steelers kind of staved off that cycle because of Ben Roethlisberger, right? Because he came on to a veteran team and inserted himself as a cog in the wheel. He didn't try and reinvent it. And then as we built other positions, you didn't have to worry about the quarterback position. But I think when that salary got big in the last couple of years of his career, that crippled a lot of your middle class guys that you could carry over to really teach the young guys and kind of have those bridges in between, to where now in this year, you got a lot of young guys. Like last year, we had a lot of young guys. This year, we have a lot of young guys starting that don't have experience, and a lot of new guys to the team. I mean, when you think about that offensive line, just take the offensive line, for example. Chuks Okorafor is the most experienced guy, and he's going on his 5th year. Then you have 2nd-year left tackle in Dan Moore. 3rd-round pick from a year ago, was pressed into service because Zach Banner never got healthy. And then Kevin Dotson, oft injured 3rd-year guy. And then we brought in 2 new guys at center and guard. Yes, James Daniels is more established, but he's only 25 years old. And then Mason Cole, of course, is on his 3rd team. So you had essentially 5 new guys playing together as one. That's taken time. Then you have a 2nd-year tight end. You know, you have a 2nd-year running back that was battling a foot injury. And then you add having a rookie wide receiver along with the other 2 wide receivers. So this offense is very disjointed, and they ran a very different offense than they did this year. So it's taken, you know, it always takes longer for offenses to gel together. And I think defensively, we were already thin at outside linebacker, and then you lose TJ Watt. And now you see us playing more of a 4-down type of look versus a 3-4 that we're accustomed to, that the Steelers have played since Dick LeBeau's been there. So now, guys, now you have personnel for 3-4 trying to play a 4-down look. Guys who are used to 2-gapping that are now said, you got to penetrate. What? Well, I don't do that. I hold up 2 blocks. No, now I need you to split those blocks. So, and then as we get guys finally accustomed to it, we lose DeMarvin Leal, who was finally settling in at the defensive end position. So it's been a lot of transition. The secondary was all injured for the last 2 weeks. We're getting guys back there. You know, the only thing that's been steady has been our linebacking core in the middle, which is Devin Bush and Miles Jack and also Robert Spillane. Those are the only guys who have been the consistent weekly contributors. Everybody else is.
Uh-oh.
Man,
What
that was out of nowhere. He was at a very clear signal. All right, Xander, we'll try and get him back up. Boy, he's awesome, by the way.
That's my guy, man.
He does. He's phenomenal. The storyteller, breaking it down. I think we got Max back up. Max, we just lost you like mid-sentence there, man, if you want to kind of pick it
up. I know. My agent called by accident, and I was like, I put do not disturb on. You'd figure he would know when I'm on it, but he has a knack for calling me when I'm busy. But that's been really the tail of the tape. I mean, Cam Hayward's been healthy. Miles Jack, Devin Bush, Robert Spillane. Those are the only 4 guys that have been healthy consistently week in and week out. Everybody else has kind of been revolving through. So that's why you've kind of seen this up and down performances from the team. And, you know, they're learning. It's a young team, and it's a team that's growing, but it's not growing fast enough, especially when you look at this year's season. I mean, the only advantage is that you only have 10 teams above 500. Of course, your team leading the way at 6-0, but everybody else is 5-5, and you know, I'm sorry, 500 or below. So it's not even that much of a separation between a lot of teams unless you're in the NFC East. Everybody else has been depressed, you know, playing around the league. So we're kind of on par with everybody else, I feel.
So, Max, based on what you just said, can this season for the Steelers be salvaged? And when I say salvaged, I don't mean a playoff team, but just a 500 team.
I think we can. I think we can, because the good thing is after this game, we have a bye. And as we know, this week, TJ Watt's been activated in the 21-day return window, which when we look at across the country, the team that you guys already played, the Arizona Cardinals, a team that was in a similar situation. And then what? DeAndre Hopkins comes back. They look like a completely different team with 1 player added. So I think there is that kind of optimism that we can get to around that 500 range. Obviously, we can't have 500 outright anymore unless you go for a tie. But I think this team can be in the 8-win category, and it might be a little bit below 500, but I think they can still get there because a bulk of our divisional games are still at the back half of the season. We've only played 2 games going into the bye, and we'll have 4 on the back half after the bye. So I think there's some opportunities there. We still have the Saints on the schedule. We have some doable and winnable games on the schedule. We've gotten through the roughest part. You guys are on there. Buffalo, we've already played. The surprising New York Jets that nobody saw coming. playing exceptionally well. So we've gotten a lot of those guys out of the way. Now the Giants will still be another challenge for us on the back half, and Atlanta, surprisingly, how well they're playing. I mean, it's funny. We talked about how deep the AFC was going to be this year, and the NFC was depleted. But now we're looking at it. There's a lot better teams in the NFC right now as the season stands. I mean, think about you guys, along with the New York, along with what the Cowboys did, and then of course looking at Minnesota. I mean, there's a lot of really good teams over on this side of the ball, and the AFC is a bigger division between our conferences.
You know, I'm looking at it, and we talked to Chuck yesterday, and he said a good bit of the problems that the office is having is in offensive coordinator Canada. Matt Canada's really not doing well at putting his team in a better position. What is your experience with Canada?
I haven't really talked to him, and you would think a former quarterback that's on the staff, that's around the facility all the time, would at least talk to the coordinator a little bit, just a smidge. And he's a coordinator. First of all, he's up in the booth. He's a guy that's always been up in the booth. He's not a sideline guy. Most coordinators like to be on the sideline.
Yep.
Because you get instant analysis, you can make the adjustments face to face, talk with your quarterback. If you're a defensive coordinator, talk with the middle linebacker and talk with the safety to see what they're seeing, make the adjustments. He's Mr. Telephone. I won't put that all on him. I think he's done better in the last 3 weeks with play calling and being imaginative and creative, but it's still not enough. I think when you have all the different pieces, at some point you have to break from your philosophy and your system as it's written to putting it into practical application of the personnel you have on hand. And that's where you're kind of seeing the differences, right? He's holding strong to his system and philosophy versus understanding what personnel he has. And that's where the disconnect really comes between the two. But now you see Kenny Pickett starting to mold more and be more creative within the confines of his system, which I think has fast-tracked him and allowed him the opportunity to have the success that he has. He's still a rookie. He's still going to make those mistakes, right? Last 49 seconds of a game, 3rd and 16, you're running. You got to lane to hit about 10 to make it a 4th and 8 on the next one. Live to play another play, 4-down territory. Don't throw it into double coverage in the corner of the end zone. Those are the decisions that he's still learning and processing. But the fact that he is agile enough to get out the pocket, to put stresses on the defenses at times, he's a willing runner. I'm not going to say he's a great runner, but he's a willing runner. And that's the first thing you need in a quarterback in today's NFL. You need the ability and the threat and the willingness to run. Not necessarily you have to. You don't have to be Lamar Jackson, but have that capability that if things break down, I need to freestyle. I need to create something.
I was going to ask you about him, Max. Have you seen enough to have an idea that it's maybe headed in the right direction, or is it a total crapshoot right now as far as Kenny Pickett's future?
I think it's heading in the right direction. I just think it's the learning curve that you're learning with everybody else. I love the chemistry that he already has with Chase Claypool and with George Pickens. I like the relationship he has with Zach Gentry and Pat Freiermuth, right? He's a guy who you can throw in cold, right? 1 weekend of practice, you have him throw 51 passes against Buffalo, right? I mean, I would never have done that. Like when Ben was a rookie, Ben, remember our goal, Barrett, 25 passes or less.
Right.
25 passes or less for a rookie quarterback, and the run game's going to be there, but the run game isn't there, so you have to supplement.
Yep.
And Ben had his success. He actually had a 90%. Remember at one point, he had a 90% win percentage when he threw the ball 25 times or less. If he threw it over 25 times, we were in trouble.
And our Grim would make sure. Grim would call upstairs, hey, we're almost at that threshold. Russ Grimm, original Hog, our offensive line, because we're like, hey, we're almost at that threshold. Get back to running the ball.
Yeah, and I mean, so I think it's a different thing, and it's judged differently because he has more interceptions, he has touchdown passes, but you can see that the drives are sustaining longer. The 3rd down conversions are getting better, and it comes down to red zone decision making in a lot of times. I mean, in that Miami game, we had plenty of opportunities to win that game. We throw 2 interceptions in the end zone, and then we stall a little bit short on another drive in the second half. And, defense did their job, but offense didn't carry their end. And this is a team that has to win with all three phases in sync with each other. They can't win off of one phase or the other. They have to win as a team effort because the talent there is just so young and raw.
We're speaking with Max Starks. Check him out on Twitter too, at Max Starks 78. Max, you do an awesome job breaking this thing down, man. I'm curious where you fall with the Eagles here, from what you've seen and with Jalen Hurts, and just how much of a shot do they have at winning this whole thing?
All right, so I'm a Pittsburgh sideline reporter by day, but I'm also a longtime SiriusXM NFL radio host and analyst, and I also work for ESPN as an analyst. So I have my fan hat, and then I have my reality hat. Reality hat had me picking Philly early in the year. They were my dark horse favorite for the Super Bowl. Ooh. And my fan hat says, we don't win in Philly. We need to win in Philly. Like, we don't have a winning record with you guys. We're 49-23 in the series. So I would love for Philly, for our fans to come and say, hey, we're going to beat them, because the last rookie quarterback that played against the Philadelphia Eagles beat them when they were undefeated, and Ben Roethlisberger against that Don McNabb squad in 2004.
They came to our house, though.
Yeah, they exactly. First of all, they came to our house, and secondly, the defense was ridiculous. I mean, we had a top 5 defense at the time. That is not the case. I love everything about this Philly team. I think defensively, very aggressive. You can use the 4-man rush and affect and hit home where you don't have to blitz. So now what does that do? You allow you guys to run man. You can run zone mix in the middle. You can run a mix of invert cover 2. You can run some cover 3 and 6, and also play cover 1, which I love, because Darius Slay, James Bradbury give you that flexibility. C.J. Gardner-Johnson also in the back half is a ball hawk. And I think with the defensive line, you now free up T.J. Edwards to make splash plays, especially when you have Jordan Davis in there. Not nothing against, you got Javon Hargrave and you have Fletcher Cox, who are 2 very good, excellent defensive tackles, but Jordan Davis is just a body you can't move. And then, of course, you go and you add the guy that I had on my wish list on Monday. I said it on my show. I was like, hey, trade deadline's a week away. There's 2 guys on my list, Robert Quinn, Jerry Hughes. Boom. What happens? Robert Quinn comes to the Eagles. I was like, all right, there it is. Thank you. Somebody recognized that you could go get Robert Quinn for a value. And you add that to your already potent pass rush. That just makes it tougher for a lot of teams. I mean, if you're going to beat this Eagles team, I mean, looking at how teams have effects in the game against the Eagles, because once again, nobody has cracked the code fully to stop the fast starts that the Eagles start. But teams do try and play catch up, but then eventually runs out when the team comes back to base. You've got to get guys moving laterally. And then offensively, I love Jalen Hurts. I've covered this kid since he was a freshman at Alabama. I've watched his career through college, and I was happy that he went to Philly, because I was like, this kid has that it factor, right? It's the X factor. You can't explain it. It's like Deshaun Watson without all the other proclivities on off the field, is that he knows how to win, and he knows what winning looks like. And he has an expectation, a standard he holds himself and his teammates to, and that's natural leadership. And that's what I love about Jalen Hurts. And then you add in, you have guys in the backfield. I mean, between Kenneth Walker and Miles Sanders, I mean, you got guys who are very good running backs and running behind that big offensive line. I mean, we have Andy Weidel on our staff now as our assistant GM, who was assistant GM with the Eagles. And he talked about building and crafting that offensive line and how that was the basis. Build your lines and everything else will fall into place. And you guys did it the right way through the draft. And that's how you acquire offensive line talent. You can't just trade for it and expect it to just be an instant Band-Aid. It doesn't happen that way. And then, of course, Devontae Smith and A.J. Brown. What else is there to say? You got a Heisman Trophy winner, and you got a highly productive all-pro level receiver that are both playing at their top levels. So, I mean, I like everything the offense does. The only thing I will say about the Eagles, I have not seen a 4-quarter game from them yet.
Yep.
I've not seen them play 4 quarters of football yet. And as of right now, they haven't had to. There's been no challenge that's made them have to do that. But it's going to be interesting that when they do get into that first tough match, can they overcome that, because they haven't done it yet?
Hey, Max, I was at NBC in Pittsburgh for 10 years. And one thing that's always fascinated me about the history of that organization is they don't buckle under pressure. When you look at a lot of teams across the league, how quickly they will change coaching staffs, that's not the Pittsburgh Steelers' way of doing things. And, I know there's a public cry for Mike Tomlin right now. Do you see in any way, shape, or form that Tomlin could be in trouble? Because I don't.
No, I don't either. I think the people that want him out are the same people that have wanted him out since he started, right? And they're just looking for they haven't gotten the satisfaction of having any crack in the armor yet. And they feel like because it's below 500 right now, that this is the time to feed, right? They smell blood in the water and they think he's bleeding. And I think that's the thing that was made Tomlin so great. Tomlin is Tomlin. He's going to give you his 100. He's going to keep it real, but he's not a person that feels pressure. He applies it. And so if you say, we're going to get rid of this coach that's been with us for 16 years, might have one losing season, and it would be this most recent one. There are teams out there right now in the NFL that would cut a winning head coach to hire him in a heartbeat and would not think twice about it because they know what he's done. They know what his track record is. And I think for the people that are trying to talk all bad about him, I'm like, listen, y'all know nothing. And if you saw the players dissenting, that's one thing. But you don't hear a single similar different message from what Mike Tomlin says. And when he calls people out, he's already talked to you personally about this. He's never going to catch you off guard like a lot of guys do. And you'll never hear, guys leaking out and talking about these situations outside of having that privy. He has an open door policy and he's transparent. I think that's something that's rare for a lot of coaches. And that's why he's had the staying power that he's had, is because he is transparent. He understands guys. And when you're drafting guys, they draft guys based off of the philosophy and the personality of the coach. And they've done a great job at that with their scouting department.
Well, Max, good information, good stuff, good dirt on Barrett. We appreciate every last bit of it. Keep up the great work doing sideline work with the Steelers course at Sirius XM. Where can people catch you other than your Steelers work? Where can they catch you?
Okay, so like today, actually in about a half an hour, I'll be on SEC Today on Sirius XM 374. I do NFL late hits every Tuesday evening. I'm also on Field of 12 Monday nights doing college football recaps, as well as ESPN radio. I'm usually calling the early college games on Saturdays. This Saturday I'm off. No, this Saturday I'm off. Next week I'm at UNC Virginia, but this week I'm off because it's my daughter's 10th birthday tomorrow.
You're not at UNC. I'm at UNC Central. I got UNC Central. Howard at UNC Central. So I'll be in North Carolina, man.
I'm in Virginia. Dang it.
Weekend. Oh, you're in Virginia?
Yeah, next week. I'm in Charlottesville, man. I'm in Charlottesville. Dang it.
All right. Well,
we keep missing. We keep missing each other. Yeah.
Hey, Max, I think the best thing about this interview that we just had with you is when you called him a rat bleep. I think that was the best.
Yeah. Yeah, I apologize. I figured we were on a more liberal outlet, so I can use a little color with it. But I mean, but I love Bear. I mean, Bear's my big brother, man. I mean, we like when we talk, it's just like picking up. Like time has stood still in the time in between. I love him, and he knows I'll call him for anything, and he can call me for anything, and we'll be there in a heartbeat.
Yeah, we were used to keeping Chris Kimawatu out of trouble. Once he started doing that Samoan dance, all that stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, here he goes. Hey, Max, you get him from that side, and I'll get him from the other side. Let's go.
Exactly. You have to run bumpers like at the bowling alley.
Oh my God.
Because you're not going to get in front of and behind. You got to go from side to side. That's the only way you can control Chris.
Max, real quick, do your Gators have any shot against the Dogs?
Stranger things have happened with a good Dogs team and a down Gators team. I mean, I was just on a podcast yesterday with George Foster, longtime Georgia offensive lineman and NFL lineman. And G. Foster, they had better teams, number one teams in the country, and their only loss was to us and a team that we should not have been. So I think if Anthony Richardson can possess the football, meaning not give it away carelessly, I think they have a shot, because you saw what he did against Tennessee, keeping that a tighter game than a lot of people expected. Threw for over 450 yards. I think he has it in him, but he's also another young quarterback that is getting his first real experience this season with a new head coach. And I think if they can keep it tight and they can establish a run game early, this is one thing that Georgia has not had to, they've escaped 2 games this year.
Yeah, they have.
And I think the Gators have the talent that can keep pace with them as long as they don't carelessly give the football away. You can't give away interceptions, and you can't have fumbles lost fumbles.
Great, Max. Thanks, man. We would love to have you on again. Man. We really do appreciate
it.
Man. Also, for the Super Bowl, man, I already told the guys we're shacking up at your house, man, for the Super Bowl.
Oh, listen, I got some extra air mattresses. We good.
Backyard, whatever. We'll take anything we can get, Max. We're not picky. That's for sure.
Oh, man.
Max, thanks, man.
Appreciate you, bro.
Appreciate you, man.
My pleasure. You guys take care.
All right. You have a good weekend. That is Max Starks. He's awesome, man.
Oh, that's what he does for a living,
that was great stuff. Great
His
stuff.
analysis was great. Him talking about you was, priceless.
Oh, that was worth the session right there.
God, forget it. That was the highlight of our week.
Man, come on.